Hey everyone, Richard Robbins here. Well, the numbers are in for the Calgary Real Estate Board for the month of May. Now, again, I'm going to do something a little different because obviously we're dealing with COVID-19. However, some markets are starting to open up, which is all good. When I say different, I'm not going to compare January to the end of May of this year. I'm also going to compare each month to 2020 and 2019 so you can see the impact that COVID has had. And at the end, what I'll do is I'll give you some ideas where I see the market going. Now, a lot of people say, how do I download the slides? Because there's a lot of content here and I don't go over it all. Just go to our website, everything is there for you. So let's have a look. If we look here, we've got our sales, we've got our active listings, we've got our months of inventory or supply and demand, we have our average price, and we got our days in the market. So if we go to January, you can see it at 863 sales, and of course it started to rise as it normally does, went to 1197, and then of course COVID came in right around the middle of March. We're at 1177, so not far off what we did in February, and then of course you can see normally April would have been substantially higher, but it's at 573. However, look at this. We went to 1,080 in May. Now, this is a crazy good number because we're up by 88.5%, okay, over April, which is fabulous. Now, your active listings, we can see what's going on here, but they're staying, at 5,000, and now we're at 5,800, so they're rising a bit. But look at this. Your listings went up by 5.5% from April to May, but our sales went up 88%. So what's going to happen to our months of inventory? It dropped significantly. Look at this. Went from 9.7 months of inventory to 5.4. Look, we started the year at 5.9, okay, and then of course it started to drop as it normally does as we move into the spring market. Then COVID, way up, but this dropped down substantially. And look at your average sale price. It actually went up from April into May. So pretty good, up by 4%. Now, if I go back and if I look at January, February, March, April, May for 2019 and 2020, you can see here you were up in January over the year before, up by 7%. Look at this, we're up 22%. So what happened? The year started out to look very, very good. And then of course COVID hit us. We were down by 11% in March, but this was the big month. We were down by 63%. We did 573 sales, okay, in April, opposed to 1547 beforehand. And then, of course, May, we're down by 43%. So yes, if you think about it, the sales were up substantially in Calgary over April. However, they're still down substantially over the same period last year. Now, let's look at your average price. You can see here, if we look at January of 2019 to 20, it was the same, 451, no change at all. And then what happened here, we did have a drop, 461, 449, okay, 460, another drop, 448. Now this is year over year, of course, 460, look at 423, down substantially. But remember, the reason it was down substantially, your sales were down 63% if we're looking at the month of April. And we look here, 473, 439, okay, so you can see it was up a little bit in 2020 over the same month last year, but it was down substantially, or I should say over the same month this year, but it was down substantially over where it was last year. So what's happening right now in the market is very interesting. Now, I'm going to show you months of inventory in just a second. But if you think about what's happening, our sales are still down a lot over the same month last year. However, now they're starting to pick up because, as I said, we're starting to come out a little bit. People are starting to get back to some semblance of normal. It's not the way it was, but people are out there, they're starting to buy and they're starting to sell real estate. And I think in June, you're going to see more of the same. I think it's going to be better. So now here's your months of inventory. Now, if we look at this, remember 4 to 6 months is balanced, right? So right along here, this is your balanced area. When you get up into this territory, you're in a buyer's market. When you're in this territory, you're in a seller's market, okay? Supply and demand. So if we look at this, look what happened this year. We started here at 6, we dropped down to 4, which was very, very good, crept up a little bit here in March, but look what happened. April, went way up. Okay, the worst months that COVID has caused with months of inventory. And then what happened, we dropped down to 5.4. So see, at 5.4 months of inventory, and these are all your previous years, you can download these slides and have a look, but you can see what's going on here. is we've moved back in to Calgary in primarily a balanced market. Now, depends on property type. You're going to have more months of inventory in condos. You're going to have less months of inventory in, inexpensive detached homes. And again, it depends on the region, the geographical area. But what we're seeing is actually, I think, some very positive news happening in Calgary right now. I think June will remain to be I think June will be busier, hopefully, than May. So I think your months of inventory will probably be maybe here or just even slightly below that. But what I'm worried about is more the fall. I'm looking at the fall, even the beginning of next year, as unemployment starts to have more of an impact in the market. But I just want to say right now, I think the secret is make hay while the sun is shining. Get out there, make it happen right now. I do think the summer is going to be busier than maybe normally it is because there's so much pent-up demand, but I just think right now there's tremendous opportunity for you if you're out there working and putting in the time. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Remember, everybody, it's a beautiful life. Make it count.